Ripple Swell was one of the most successful ones in history from Ripple's point of view this year. And it's kind of crazy to think about it like that because obviously Ripple Swell is always successful. But this year in particular, we saw some of the biggest moves ever made from the Ripple team. And yes, this does pertain back to even XRP because XRP is at the center point of almost every single move that Ripple has made from Swell. Now, for those that are wondering why I'm making a video about Ripple Swell now, because it is, the 9th of November, I was out of the office, as you guys are probably aware if you do follow me on X. My son was born on the 5th, which I was in the hospital up until, early yesterday. So everything went well for anyone that was wondering. Mom and baby are both happy and healthy. So thank you to everyone that did congratulate us on both X and also in the YouTube comments. I appreciate all of you. But with that in mind, let's dive on in. So again, the market itself, I didn't really miss much. The market did sell off. We kind of knew that Bitcoin was going to sell off anyways, back down to like roughly the 100K region. We did hit that. Obviously, the market cap of crypto is back down to 3.41 trillion. We did dip as low as about roughly like 3.31 trillion. This is what the 1 year looks like, and this is what the all-time looks like as well. Kind of feels as though we're just kind of retesting some major trends from going all the way back to like the bear market. This is normal behavior. This is just a major retest. We've seen these before. April was another time where we did retest the trend. Also, even back in September of 2024 as well. And from those points, we continued to rally to new highs. Now, fear and greed back down to 24. We love to see this around these levels because, again, we're so close to extreme fear at this point that it just feels so good. And I know that that sounds crazy because we're back down into extreme fear. Why would it feel good? It's because typically when we do see, these levels being targeted, they do mark local bottoms. So I'm pretty confident that we should be at or close to that bottom point for the market. And the reason why I say that is because both XRP and even Bitcoin are retesting major trends. Bitcoin's going all the way back to August of 2024. And this has held so far, and I'm hoping to see this hold and maintain this time around as well. Because if it doesn't, then it could signal a much more bearish sign. So again, I would like to see us maintain these lows. Roughly 100.5K is the key level for us to maintain, which I did outline even prior to the YouTube ban and me being out of the office. And then of course with XRP, the main thing that we're really kind of looking at is just maintaining this weekly trend. So far we have. I would like to see this, hold. Obviously, today is Sunday, so the weekly candle closes today. So it's going to be pretty important to focus on these closes. But with that in mind, let's dive on in and let's talk about Ripple Swell because Ripple Swell was from November 4th through the 5th. Obviously, I was out of office, but it was definitely one for the books. Listen, every single year we see Ripple Swell kind of grow and morph into a much bigger event that's not so much crypto related. I think that that's like one of the biggest things to focus on with Ripple Swell is that this isn't your typical crypto event where you have, crypto CEOs and exchange CEOs jumping in and talking about how great crypto is, how awesome crypto is going to be, this, that, whatever. It's not your typical event, especially when you look at the speakers, right? Like you could clearly see just by the speakers list that this is not your typical crypto event. It's more so an event where we are starting to see, traditional financial giants converging with crypto native players. And, this is always something that I've put a spotlight on about how Ripple Swell is completely different and how Ripple is in a completely different class compared to most of these other companies because Ripple has technically been holding a banking and financial conference since, the beginning, which is kind of crazy to think about because Ripple is just your blockchain-based company. But these events tell us completely different. They are not just your typical blockchain-based company. They are much bigger than that. Over the last couple of days, it has come to my attention that we are now witnessing more and more users having money frozen on exchanges like MEXC. This is a big issue, and it's an issue that plagues the crypto space. It's at a time where these exchanges are not fully regulated. It's a big issue. This is why when I've always mentioned if you wanted to hold your crypto in custody, it could be cold storage. It doesn't matter where you are holding it. Never hold it on these exchanges. Now, I will say ITrustCapital does offer a premium custody account, which provides you institutional grade custody. This is a US based company with live client service and support. And you can buy and sell crypto 24/7 on this platform, which is a closed loop system that is extremely secure with low fees. We could also see here that ITrustCapital does provide you with every single thing that you possibly need when you are buying, selling, or holding crypto on their platform. If you guys do want to sign up with a premium custody account today, you guys are more so welcome to do so through my link that is down in the description below. If you deposit $1,000, you get a $100 funding bonus on top of it. And with that being said, let's jump back on into the video. But one thing that I did notice leading up to this event was ROUSD. Back in August, I put out a post, and this was on August 3rd, just to be fully transparent. I said during this recent downtrend in the market, ROUSD secretly passed $600 million in total value. Now, I did say that it's very clear that Ripple is dedicated to ensuring that ROUSD becomes a top 5 stablecoin by the end of the year. They are still 100% focused on that. And I bring this up because, again, if we go back to March of this year, Jack McDonald, who is the CEO of Standard Custody, SVP stablecoins at Ripple, he did say that, hey, we are fully committed to having ROUSD, and we expect ROUSD to be a top 5 stablecoin by the end of year. Now, during this post, market cap was 170 million. Today, we know ROUSD has well over $1+ billion tied back to it in terms of total value. This is actually up about 32.5% in the last 30 days. And also the monthly transfer volume is up 7.77%. Nothing too crazy, almost 8%, but almost $6 billion. And if we're looking at that transfer volume on the monthly, October was the largest month for ROUSD transfer volume, recording almost $6 billion in transfer volume, which was very significant. And we're also about roughly 1 week into November, and we're about roughly almost $8 billion. So again, ROUSD is getting adopted, it's being utilized, and this is definitely a very good sign of what's to come. And then also, if we're looking at the networks in which ROUSD is listed on, looking at XRP, it's up 122.6% in terms of that transfer, total value on these networks. And you can see the market share on XRP is up about almost 20% as well. So ROUSD is getting minted significantly on XRP. It just crossed over $200 million. Looking at the stablecoin market cap on the XRP ledger as well, up almost 50%, 400 and almost, $10 million, which is kind of crazy. Stablecoin 30-day transfer volume, though, is something that I have been watching, and this is up almost 88% at 530, almost $2 million. Again, very good signs that both ROUSD, but also even the XRP ledger are starting to see some significant traction. Very, very good sign. Now, let's dive on in to Ripple Swell. Let's talk a little bit about what happened, because Ripple did put out a great post outlining almost every single thing leading up to and also happening around Swell. We have Swell 2025. We have closed a $500 million strategic investment at a $40 billion valuation, led by Fortress Investment Group and Citadel Securities. $95 billion plus in total Ripple payments payment volume, $1 billion plus ROUSD stablecoin market cap, 6 strategic acquisitions completed in just over 2 years, 25% of shares repurchased, 3x growth in Ripple Prime business, and 75 regulatory licenses globally. This is the momentum building the internet of value. And yeah, I think when we really look into what's been happening around Ripple and we put this, sort of breakdown into perspective and just kind of look at it like this, Ripple's been absolutely killing the game. They have been growing rapidly. They have been putting up numbers that no other company in this space really has been. And also on top of that, the names in which they are working with, the names in which they are collaborating with and partnering up with, it's next level. So we love to see this. And yes, the internet of value is still 100% a focus of theirs. Now, let's dive on in to this update, because again, we have Ripple announces $500 million strategic investment led by Fortress and Citadel Securities, valuing the company at $40 billion following record growth. Now you might be saying, all right, well, what does this really have to do with XRP? Well, we'll talk about that here in one moment, but here we have all of the names in which are included in this $500 million strategic investment. The investment follows Ripple's strongest year to date and its recent $1 billion tender offer at the same valuation, underscoring continued confidence in the company's growth trajectory and long-term vision. Now, they do just break down the repurchase, agreement that the company has repurchased more than 25% of its outstanding shares in recent years, returning meaningful value to employees and early investors, which we love to see. But beyond that, we have a few quotes here. So I wanted to read this because we do still have XRP being a major focus. And this is from Brad Garlinghouse, obviously Ripple CEO. This investment reflects both Ripple's incredible momentum and further validation of the market opportunity we are aggressively pursuing by some of the most trusted financial institutions in the world. We started in 2012 with one use case, payments, and have expanded that success into custody, stablecoins, prime brokerage, and corporate treasury, leveraging digital assets like XRP. Today, Ripple stands as the partner for institutions looking to access crypto and blockchain. And then, of course, yes, we do have just the breakdown of what they have accomplished in just 2 years. Payments have quickly become one of the most practical and scalable applications of crypto. Earlier this year, the company acquired stablecoin infrastructure company Rail, adding capabilities to Ripple Payments as a full-service cross-border platform using both RLUSD and XRP to make global money movement faster and more efficient for businesses. With 75 regulatory licenses, Ripple can move money on behalf of its customers, cutting out intermediaries and simplifying liquidity management and on and off ramps. Total Ripple payments volumes have now surpassed $95 billion, a clear sign of growing demand and real-world utility. In a post-Genius Act world, institutions are increasingly turning to trusted stablecoins like RLUSD for use cases such as treasury payments and collateral, a key reason why Ripple acquired G Treasury in October, which manages trillions of dollars of volume for its Fortune 500 customers who are keen to use stablecoins and digital assets to move money 24/7, 365, and put their idle capital to work. And by the way, yes, when we think about those institutions increasingly turning to trusted stablecoins like RLUSD, I think that we're starting to see that shift from those typical stablecoins that we are so used to seeing grow, like, for an example, USDT. And now we're starting to see RLUSD starting to eat their lunch. And I think that that's very evident when we look at the value on chain. Now, also, just this week, RLUSD crossed a $1 billion market cap in less than a year since launch. Ripple has also recently completed its acquisition of Hidden Road, now known as Ripple Prime, where RLUSD is already in use as collateral. Since the deal was announced, client collateral has doubled. Average daily transactions have climbed to more than 60 million, and the business has tripled in size. Ripple Prime is now expanding into collateralized lending for XRP and supporting a rapidly growing base of institutions trading XRP-based products. And yeah, listen, this is really what's been happening around Ripple in just the last 2 years. It's kind of crazy to see this, and this is just the start, because we also witnessed another huge update from Ripple, which we'll talk about here in a moment. But I do want to go over what Brad Garlinghouse did say on X, which was 2025, without a doubt, has been an incredible year for Ripple and a record year for crypto as a whole. Although we have a couple months left, this announcement feels like the cherry on top of a mountain of good news. Of course, yes, it's the announcement of the investment. This investment isn't just a validation of Ripple's growth strategy and business built on the foundation of XRP. Calling XRP the foundation is crucial here to focus on, but also a clear bet on what the future of crypto will look like. I'm very proud of what we've built and all that's to come. Now, on top of that, we did get another big announcement, and Monica Long pretty much put all of this into perspective. So initially she did talk about the investment, but then we got this. Today, we also announced that we are collaborating with MasterCard, WebBank, and Gemini to use RLUSD on the XRP ledger to settle first credit card transactions on, or settle fiat credit card transactions on chain. This will mark one of the first instances of a regulated US bank settling traditional card transactions using a regulated stablecoin on a public blockchain. This is a wild announcement because, again, it's clear confirmation that names like MasterCard, WebBank, and even Gemini, which is, yes, a crypto-based exchange, they are so eager to tap into ROUSD. They want to tap into stablecoins, all on the XRP ledger. And of course, yes, this is a great mix with the Gemini XRP credit card that did get announced earlier this year. This initiative sets a new benchmark for institutional efficiency, enabling faster, compliant, and more transparent settlement within traditional finance. The future of payments is here. Yeah, listen, it is. And it's great to see. This is an incredible announcement. And it's just another big one on top of the already growing list of announcements that Ripple has made this year supporting XRP. Because again, at the end of the day, just like Brad Garlinghouse is saying, XRP is the foundation essentially that Ripple's growth strategy is built on. This is just another huge announcement. Now, continuing from what Monica Long did say, and that post is this one down here, which is we had a full circle moment for Ripple on Monday, welcoming back Palisade Inc. co-founders to the team. Palisade has built strong, scalable infrastructure that directly complements Ripple custody and payments with a wallet as a service offering. Again, if we're thinking about almost everything that Ripple has offered those institutional players or enterprise players that want to tap into crypto, they have built an all-in-one platform. Ripple has always had this sort of vision on payments, and I feel like over time, yes, that has morphed into much more, but it's to make sure that they can offer every institutional player or enterprise player that wants to tap into blockchain or even into the Ripple platform an all-in-one experience, which is why we have been witnessing so many big acquisitions. And again, it all goes back to XRP. I feel like it's all kind of circling around XRP. And these announcements are just becoming more and more common. And they're also becoming bigger. I really do think that if we go back in time, some of these announcements that Ripple has made, they would have been huge back in 2021 or even back in 2017. So today, yeah, they are becoming a little bit more common. However, I do think that we're going to see even bigger players jumping into the space. I think that we're going to see even bigger players announced as a partner with Ripple. I think that we're going to see Ripple making even bigger moves around tokenization, around payments, around, pretty much anything that you could think of. And of course, my main focus is institutional DeFi because that's like one of the biggest things to focus on at this moment. But we got to remember that all of this goes back to even XRP because XRP is now starting to become a crucial player in this business model, especially if we're thinking about ROUSD, which is also very clear by this 122.6% gain of value that is on the XRP ledger from ROUSD. So we love that. And to really kind of wrap things up, I will say, I know how stressful this time can be, especially with the market having this sell-off, nobody really knowing what's going to happen next. But I will say one thing, okay? I don't think that we experienced a full-on bull cycle yet for crypto. And I know that that's sort of, wild to say because, again, XRP is at over $2 plus. However, I do think that most of these gains have come from the whole idea of, all right, the market is shifting. We need to jump in. We need to be holding these assets because, again, the market is maturing. The market is becoming a lot more serious. And that kind of drove FOMO into where we are today. But I still don't think that we witnessed that big alt season. I don't think that we witnessed that big bull run outside of a few outliers. And yes, the value of XRP can still rise drastically this cycle. And I don't think that I would be concerned at all with market cap at a time where if we're really kind of looking at a few things, Ethereum is still well over $400+ billion. In previous cycles, a lot of these altcoins, like even Solana, Dogecoin, ADA, have hit $100+ billion valuations. And at this point, this market cycle, we still have a lot more money in this market today. We have a lot more bigger players in this market as well, which could definitely affect the values in which these assets can reach during peak cycle times. So I'm very much so looking forward to seeing what crypto can do going forward. I still don't think that we are officially topped out. But Ripple Swell was definitely a big one for the books. I will be returning back to the original schedule starting today, so expect more updates today. And with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.